How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL stream. And today, I have to actually lock in my wildcard, and it's kind of setting in now with the last hour. So it's going to be a bit rough today, I think, for me and anyone else who's on a wildcard, because you got to get these sorts of things right. So yeah, we're going to take. That's basically what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about players that are going to get on my wildcard. I'm certainly, and anyone else who are on a wildcard. We're looking at transfers. Feel free to put them in the chat. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Want to give feedback on my wildcard? Of course. Yep, just post it down in the chat. Let's see. Just gonna copy that. And let me put that in there. Okay, so your wildcard is Pope, Taylor, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, Dallas, Madison, Salah captain, Fernandez, Son, Martial, Bamford, McCarthy, Kufel, Brewster, and Souček. I think it's pretty good. The only thing that I would say that you would potentially be looking to change, you have kind of a bit of a problem with Brewster being on the bench because he's not really a bench boostable player, unless you're not bench boosting, in which case then it's perfectly fine. Son in there is fine. I think Martial's a nice little pick. I think McCarthy, if you're bench boosting, you could probably do better with Johnston maybe, but that's probably nitpicking a little bit. Otherwise than that, I think it's okay. You're bench boosting? Yeah, I would probably see if I can find a way to not have Brewster. That would just be me, personally. Just because Brewster is... you know, it's just a bit of a not really playing of a player in Brewster, because he can get hooked before 60 minutes. He can get, you know, 1 point. He can not even start, you know. So I would see if I could find money to get like Rodrigo or somebody like that somewhere. But yeah. Feel Pope is essential for the next 2 rounds, then downgrade him to West Ham keeper. Exactly, that's exactly what I'm doing as well. It doesn't show up on the screen, but I am. I have some wildcards off screen as well to potentially swap out. So I'm gonna put the one up that I'm most likely gonna look to go with. Don't want Dallas. We want Diaz. Don't want him. Don't want him. We want Rashford. We want Rodrigo. We want Cancelo. And I have McCarthy since day 1, so he'll rise tonight. Yeah, I mean, that works too. If you can get some value out of him, then yeah, sure. Works fine by me. The one that I'm really kind of torn over, but I'm not sure if he will play, is Vardy. That's the one I'm really torn over. And the reason being is because I think he could do really well, because it's 2 away fixtures, and then he's versus a Big 6 team in the double, which makes him, you know, potentially quite good. Yeah. 2 City defenders with the next 3 game weeks. I think they can keep a clean sheet potentially versus Everton. But it's about the exit get the words out. Exit strategy. So remember, you have to deal with game week 20 with only one potential transfer. And if you look at game week 20 onwards for City, you know, in the game week 19 they do have Crystal Palace at home, which is a good fixture. But then they have West Brom, Southampton, Burnley. Maybe 2 defenders is probably a bit too much. They also have Brighton in the single game week, which I'll be free hitting anyway. Yeah, maybe I look to stretch it to see if I can get Robertson somehow. Yeah, a lot of people are looking to have the 2 potentially. But it's a bit tough to find out. Like, I'm looking at the money here and I'm like 0.8 off, and I'm thinking, where can I get that from? Chelsea's fixture is probably a little bit better. I just think that Everton's going to have a rotated side, and it's something that I could potentially deal with. But again, it is a bit tricky to do when you have Vardy playing. That's the real issue I have, is that if I know that Vardy's not playing in this game, then I can go with, you know, potentially I could have Aguero instead, which would be nice. Don't think Cancelo will play both game 16 and 17. Well, remember Walker's isolating at the moment. Mendy is Mendy. He doesn't like Zinchenko, and also Cancelo could be seen as first choice right back and left back technically. So it is a bit. Yeah, Ake is there as well for left back potentially, but it's a bit of a weird one. I'm just trying to bring up some resources on the side to potentially get some or any info if Vardy is going to play. But that may not come up as soon as I would like. Which is a bit unfortunate, but we will persevere, hopefully. But yeah, it's looking a bit tricky to try to find, because again, at the end of it all, you want to still have good players afterwards. So after the fact, you know, Leeds in game week 20, they have Newcastle away, which is still a good fixture. Vardy or Aguero, if I were to get it back in, or whoever's in this position. I mean, Vardy has Everton away, so that should be okay for him. Rashford and Bruno, they have Sheffield United at home, which is why I'm like favoring him and just saying forget Spurs. Spurs are playing like crap. There's no point in getting them in. And it saves me 0.2. And Liverpool defense didn't fill me with confidence. I mean, they play Newcastle and Southampton. They might keep one and 2 clean sheets. And then they'll probably keep a clean sheet versus Burnley. But who knows? It's a bit tricky. James Justin's another one that I brought in just because he went up in price. Could he potentially keep a clean sheet in these 2 games? Yeah, sure. But his double is a bit, you know, a bit stiffer with Southampton and Chelsea. So maybe I could go Robertson, because I'm also thinking Mane as well. But that would mean that I don't have Rashford, which is potentially a better pick for cheaper. But if I go Mane, then I would almost certainly not go Vardy. So you can't have them all, unfortunately, which is a bit of an issue at the moment. And one that I'm struggling with quite heavily. Leicester defend deep and we'll get frustrated. Justin might keep a clean sheet in that one. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm... And it's the cheapest way to get into the Leicester defense. Like if we go to Leicester, they have Justin, who's... I have him at 4.9 because I got him just because. Fofana's 5, Castagne's 5.7. Fuchs is 4.5 but not guaranteed to play. Soyuncu's 5.3 but is coming back from injury. And the rest of them aren't likely to play. And Pereira's out till who knows when. Someone asked about the captaincy. Oh, sorry. Didn't see it amongst all the what's names. My bad. Hey Hazard, how's it going? Let's see. Captaincy, Salah, Fernandez, or Son captain. I think because Newcastle are so bad, probably Salah, to be honest. But Bruno's been just so good. Like honestly, you could just leave it on Bruno every game, and he'll probably do fine. It wouldn't fill me with confidence to put it on Son at the moment. If he would have done well last game week, I would have been like, okay, yeah, sure. But that's the thing that I'm worried about. I think it's more of a Kane captainable fixture against Fulham, where Son, you can imagine, gets more space versus Leeds. Wolves are pretty bad defensively, and the way Nuno's set up versus Mourinho will probably make him somewhat happy because he was able to get a 1-1 out of it. But he played like Marçal in a back four. So if you have like Rashford or somebody like that with Bruno, then you're looking at like a pretty good return, to be honest. So Bruno could be a very good captaincy shout this week. I would say Bruno is probably as good as Son. Maybe not as good as Kane on paper. But I definitely think Salah is probably better than all of them. To be honest. That's just me, personally. Also, my glasses were quite dirty, so I had to clean them because I could hardly see out of them. Yeah. I would also say Vardy's potentially a good captaincy shout as well if you do have him. But, yeah. Yeah, Fulham would defend a little bit deeper and they break quickly. That's the one nice thing about them is that they do break quickly. Captain Son against Leeds, however, that's a different story. But I think that could also be the same way for Rashford as well versus Wolves. But Rashford's home form has been rubbish. He hasn't actually scored or assisted at home in the Premier League this season at all, which is not great. Let's see. I'm going to bring up Fantasy Football Scout. Some players that are close to a price rise, by the way, is Bruno, Salah, Robertson, Diaz, Cancelo, Son, Dallas, Souček, Vardy, Meslier, and Rafinha. Rashford will play today. Well, they don't play today, but United play the last fixture on Tuesday. Rashford will probably play. He's had a shoulder problem for who knows how long. So he should be fine. Also remember when you look at the fixtures, right? So if he plays, he'll play on Tuesday. Then it's 3 days rest, and then it's Aston Villa. And then he basically gets a 2-week break off because he's not going to play in the FA Cup, almost certainly. And then he'll play in these two. That's probably what will happen. Maybe he gets rested in one of these two games. If it's more likely to be Wolves, maybe. But I think Rashford will play through them both. Because again, a shoulder injury is not like It's not like a ankle injury or a knee injury or something like that, where it's like you use that a lot more than you would, you know, most other injuries, to be honest. Like, so if he had a knee injury and was playing through it, that's probably going to hinder him a lot more, you know, than a shoulder injury. Whereas if somebody tugs on the shoulder a little bit, then it's probably okay. May hurt a little bit, but I'm also just trying to bring up the Leicester dude, who hopefully will have some info on Jamie Vardy as soon as I have it readily available. That'd be nice. Because he's the one that I'm really struggling with. If I see Vardy in the lineup, I'm putting him in. No problem. Otherwise, I have to think about, like, punting on somebody. But my thing is that, Newcastle away... Newcastle are pretty bad. And I have value in Robertson. I like the way Robertson plays. It's just they have kind of mixed fixtures afterwards, whereas like Diaz and Cancelo have good fixtures afterwards. So it's a bit of a juggling game, to be honest, which is causing me a bit of a headache. If I didn't have Vardy up front, it'd be no problem, because I could bring in somebody like Chris Wood, who has a double game week fixture. I could bring in Adams, who has I already have Adams currently, but I can have Adams as a double game week fixture. Try to transfer around rotation players that can be both good or bad. Team will look different. And yeah, we have to think about double game week 20 and 21 as well. Yeah, exactly. That's why I want to go with the Pope Fabianski route, because I don't want to have the likes of Balbuena and, Lowton and people like that in my team. Rafinha and Rodrigo is probably already bad enough. Yeah. So the thing that I'm probably thinking is that if Vardy's in, and is playing, I'll have Vardy. I won't have Robertson. I'll have. Let me change this to all players. I'll go with Diaz. To free up a little bit of money. And I'll go with probably Son, just because you could potentially rest Rashford a little bit in the Wolves game. Maybe that's probably the one he would do, because you wouldn't rest him before the FA Cup break, basically, right? That's if Vardy is okay. If Vardy isn't okay, then we can do a couple of things. We can go... I was thinking about taking a 1 week punt on Aguero and then getting Vardy the next day. Because the one nice thing is that both City and Leicester play on the same day. So I can see if Vardy's not playing, then I know, and he doesn't come on, then I know he's fine. Probably, for the next game. That's the thing. I'm still potentially waiting on that news if it's gonna come out. So it's gonna be a bit close to call, unfortunately. But yeah, if I know that Vardy's out or isn't starting, then I think Leicester should have enough to beat Palace. I'll go with the punt on Aguero. And then I'll have Rashford here instead of Son. And probably go with that. Would you consider Martial on the front like me instead of Vardy? I mean, if Rashford needed to rest one of the games, Martial will probably play both games to finally show stability. Yes and no. I agree with both points, but the thing is, for whatever reason, Rashford just never gets hooked. Ever. or almost never gets subbed off unless United are smashing their opponent. You can not risk taking him off, or it's not a risk to take him off. Whereas Martial will, if he's playing badly, has a very good chance of getting taken off for Cavani. Right? And Rashford's been playing with his shoulder injury for quite a while. We know that. So Martial is definitely susceptible to getting hooked. Now, is Martial better at home? Yes. Definitely better at home. But the real issue is that, is Rashford potentially going to play both games? Now, it's not like I don't have cover on the bench, because we do. We have Souček against Southampton, who's going to play. So if Rashford doesn't play or doesn't come on at all and they rest him, okay, sure, whatever, fine. And it's hard to choose on a wildcard, yeah, because it's not like you can be like, oh, well, next week I'll just get the other one. Well, no, you kind of don't want to do that. And I'm already kind of booking in 2 transfers. Pope to Fabianski in 19, and whoever this player is to Vardy, or whoever this Son to Rashford in this case, or Son to Mane, or whatever it may be. And I think Triple City versus Everton today could actually be quite good, because Ancelotti said he's going to potentially rotate his team. Pep said he wanted to start Aguero, and Aguero in a one-off could be quite good. So if we don't get Vardy news, will you play him? If we don't get Vardy news, what I will do is I will go with Aguero probably. I'll go with Aguero if I'm feeling Maverick. I'll go with Kane if I'm feeling a bit skittish, because I know Kane's going to play, right? Captaincy is probably going to be on Salah regardless. Aguero's not in form. Well, he hasn't started, but that's why it is a risk. It's a one-off risk, but it's against a rotated Everton team, and maybe he gets 60 minutes. Again, Jesus isn't going to play because he has to self-isolate. Torres has been playing. Actually, that's one thing I actually wanted to check. I'm pretty sure Torres has played quite a lot of games and a lot of minutes in the last couple. So he played. Yeah, I think he also played midweek as well. But Aguero might start because, again, Pep said in his that he wanted Aguero, wanted to pick him. Yeah, City's offense is a bit sketchy, but that's also been without Aguero too, who is kind of their main man, right? Otherwise, if Vardy isn't starting, then what I might do is also potentially look for, like, maybe, you know, like I said, Chris Wood or something like that. Go with it, like a super cheap striker. Just say, forget Leicester, get Justin in, or Castagne or something like that. And then go for like Mane and like Liverpool and City defenders. Che Adams? Nah, I have Che Adams right now, and I don't think he's very good at the moment. I got him when he was 6 million, but Rodrigo for 3 million less. It's like Che Adams without Danny Ings just isn't the same, to be honest. It's you know, bit of an issue. I had Adams from day one, frustrated from the beginning. Yeah, exactly. I don't like watching Southampton play now is mega frustrating. One thing I am gonna actually bring up just quickly off the side here is the FF Scout predicted lineups. Let's see. So what does Neil have for us for Leicester? So he thinks that Justin will play, Fofana will play, Evans will play, Fuchs will play, and then Thomas will come in for Castagne. Justin will play. You'll have Mendy and Chowdhury will play Pratt, Iosi Perez, and Ian Nacho. So he thinks that Vardy's going to get benched, as well as Yuri Tielemans, which to me makes sense. For Man City, he doesn't think that Aguero will play. And he thinks that Rashford will play as well. So, kind of half news there. You don't trust Son? I don't trust Spurs. I don't trust Mourinho. Because they got a goal in the first minute, and then they defended for 80 minutes plus, and they conceded. That's literally what they did. They didn't do anything else. Which is a bit worrying. If I was a Son and Kane owner, because they get one goal and then they just sit on their laurels. It's just a bit, you know, bit of an issue, I would say, for them, if that's the way they're gonna go. Yeah, I just think that, you know, Son and Kane, they're good assets on paper, and it makes the most sense. You know, they got Fulham, they got Leeds, but the way that they're playing right now, Fulham will sit deep and, you know, try to hit them on the break and be organized and frustrate them, and they progress the ball quite quickly. But Spurs haven't been playing well. Now against Leeds, I think they can definitely do something. Leeds defense has shown that they're not great. Can they hurt us there? Yeah, you know, of course. But again, I would be, if I had both Spurs players, I would have to then bank in transfers of potentially getting them out, unless I wanted to keep them for Sheffield United, which is still possible. But is Son in a one-off versus Sheffield United better than Rashford in a big game versus Liverpool, and then also playing Fulham? Two teams which would favor United, as it were, in the way that they play. It's a bit tricky, to be honest. Still nothing on the old Jamie Vardy front as of now, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get rotated. So, which probably means that I'm going to have to, because a risk on Aguero could potentially hurt. But it could just be a one-off. Or do I just future-proof myself and just... this is so difficult. This is so difficult. Okay. Alright. Because do I really want to, like... Okay, so you have Chris Wood, who I'm not overly happy about. This would be like Mane. Yeah, I know a lot of people are getting him, but I think that Leicester could still be, like, Vardy could still be so good, and I want the option to go to Vardy. That's the thing. Because I think Vardy could still do well. But there are two home fixtures for the double game week, so maybe not. But again, one of them's versus Chelsea, so... How much time do we have left for... We still have a half an hour. So, like... At 20 or so minutes past, I'm gonna be going to I'm gonna have to confirm some stuff here. Because I really want to have Rashford for when we play against Fulham and Liverpool. I think that's probably going to be an astute pick. I don't trust Liverpool's defense. No Dallas, because we have 3 leads already with Rafinha, Rodrigo, and Bamford. Because I'm already struggling to put in forwards that aren't Bamford and Vardy / Kane already. That's the problem. There's too many crap forward spots. So Rodrigo's kind of the best of both worlds because he's super cheap. And he plays for a double game week team. That's why I went for 4-4-2, because fixtures are not good for crappy forward. Yeah, exactly. Solid team. Salah captain. Yeah, Salah's going to be the captain, probably. Unless I'm feeling a bit frisky, in which case I'll captain Bruno. But probably Salah captain, if I had to guess. See, the thing is, I like Robertson a lot. I really like him a lot. I like the way he plays. I like watching him play. It's just Liverpool's defense is crap. Or like it can be just super bad when it wants to be, which is a bit annoying. And City's has been a lot more solid because they're just playing 2 CDMs. And Matip's out now, yeah, so they gotta play a youngster who didn't look very comfortable overall. Which was, you know, not very inspiring. That's the real problem, is yesterday, all the plans that I had ready to go were not really inspiring. So I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll get I'll get double Spurs and I'll transfer them out and I'll have Liverpool defense and I'll have the, you know, all this sort of stuff. But they both play terribly. So it's like, you know, Liverpool's offense probably had an off day and I expect them to probably score versus Newcastle. But, you know. Could you take a chance on Reece Williams from Liverpool and upgrade Wood to someone risky but maybe rewarding? Could be. But is Reece Williams necessarily going to play over the likes of that other dude? So Trent will play, Robertson will play, you know, maybe Phillips plays. Like, they could play this guy Phillips. He played last time once. And then Reece Williams came on. Maybe Phillips plays. Like, it could be Phillips or Reece Williams. Like, very easily. Could be Jordan Henderson. That would be a bit of a twist. They put Jordan Henderson back at center back and they put in an extra attacking midfielder like Oxlade-Chamberlain has come back or something. Hey, Mono, how's it going? But yeah, could be a bit rough for Liverpool defense. That's why I don't think double Liverpool defense is definitely the way to go, and I think their fixtures afterwards aren't as good either. I've held on to KDB so that I can bank the transfer midfield of KDB, Grealish, Salah, Fernandez, and so on. Yep, looks good. Definitely looks good. storm here. Hopefully you are a-okay. Should I stick with Justin and Kufal versus Robbo and Balbuena? See, the thing is, on paper, I like Robertson and Balbuena better just because I like Robertson. But I think you can get more, like, because you're thinking Justin and Kufal plus however many million that you save from Robertson. But I mean, they're versus Newcastle. And Liverpool probably not going to keep a clean sheet versus United. Because both teams are probably going to score. Burnley, they might not keep a clean sheet. Spurs, they might. Maybe. But again, it's a bit... 2.3 in the bank. Yeah, exactly. So you're... It's a lot of money. It's definitely a lot of money. Let's see. Other options, I have to get Pope now. Yeah, I think Pope for the next two is definitely quite good. And I think that transferring to Fabianski is what a lot of people are going to potentially do. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm struggling to find a way that where I get the best of all the worlds, as it were. Yeah, you can post your team in the chat. Just type it out. Yeah, just type it out. We'll have a little gander, a little look. Yeah, for me, I don't like, even though Robertson could potentially go up in price, and I have him at 7.3 at the moment. This is so difficult. This is so incredibly difficult. I mean, if I wanted to go 4.8 million defender, I could go with John Stones. I think he's 4.8, unless he's 4.9, which would really suck. Yeah, he's 4.9. I'm always like 0.1 off. If I had an extra million, I could do basically anything I wanted. That's kind of the problem. Oh, well, that's not good. Oh, I need to know if Vardy's playing. That's the real struggle. I wish I had future vision. McCarthy, Johnston, that looks fine by me. Justin, Dallas, Walker, Peters, Taylor, Kufau, looks fine. Salah, Bruno, Son, Rafinha, Souček, Kane, Bamford, and Chris Wood. Looks fine to me. Looks fine to me. That's the only problem that I'm having, is that with Pope, unfortunately you have to bank a transfer. You have to use your transfer 19 to get Pope out to put in Fabianski. So I only have effectively one transfer to make, unless I want to keep a single game week player, like Son. For me, once I let KDB go, sign Suchek and get Robbo. Extra 2.3 in the bank. I mean, if you want to keep all those double game week players, then that's fine. The only other thing I would say is maybe just get Pope over McCarthy, maybe. But otherwise than that, looks fine. Like, I really want to keep Robertson, but the problem is he's so much money. And I kind of want a City defender of some kind. And I don't want to bring in like Reece James and then have Vardy versus Reece James in one of the games, because then that's just going to be a nightmare. I'd rather like back one team. Like in the Liverpool versus United game, I just hope they, you know, go for a shootout. Consider Trent out with Holding and then upgrade Brewster. That doesn't sound great, to be honest. I don't think Arsenal defenders are great. Apparently, Marcus Rashford and Victor Lindelof are both doubts for Wolves after suffering reoccurrences of long-standing shoulder and back complaints, respectively. So yeah, that could be a bit of an issue. Oh, you're an Arsenal fan, okay. So that might make a little bit more sense. Well, at least you beat Chelsea. You did us a favor. Alright, do we have any more news here? Is Lindelof out? No, Wan-Bissaka's apparently back. So he should play, I think. Lindelof is probably going to be out. Almost certainly. Stay away from Arsenal defenders? Yeah. That's what I would say. Arsenal are not great. On my defense, who to start this game week? Kyle Walker-Peters, Justin, Taylor, Dallas, and Kufel. I would say Dallas, definitely. I would say Taylor, definitely. And then I would probably say James Justin. For the first time in 14 weeks, Arsenal actually showed fight for the first time. Yeah, that's true. Definitely true. What was I going to look up? Gonna mute that. Chelsea were quite bad, to be fair. I'm also looking at potentially KDB back in as well. And I think the only way to do that is if I have Mane in. Right? Because the easy swap to KDB is going to be from Mane, because I won't need basically anything in the bank at all. That means I need to get rid of Vardy. And do I think Bonnie does better versus Newcastle and Southampton over Vardy potentially being rested versus Crystal Palace and Newcastle himself? Probably. Oh, this is rough. Maybe I keep in James Justin just for the additional cover. And also Rashford is a doubt. Chelsea was bad when Arsenal was playing against fighting teams, they'll concede. Mane to Son, Vardy to Kane, and then transfer out Kane in 19 for Vardy. I mean, that's an option, but I think Vardy, that the reason I wanted Vardy initially was because of the fact that his 2 fixtures beforehand were really good. Like, his 2 away fixtures were really good. You know, Crystal Palace and Newcastle are like perfect because he just scores away from home, and both those teams suck. So that's kind of why I'm wavering a bit. And again, I still want, you know, some a way to get De Bruyne after the fact. The more and more I think about it, I think that's probably better, just because, or even Sterling, right? And I know Mane's definitely going to play. Mane also scored in the last game. He's better away from home. Liverpool being, you know, going 1-1, they're going to have to rectify that and get 3 points. Do I really want Chris Wood, though? If I go Che Adams, then I can get Cancelo as well. Because I have Che Adams for 0.2 cheaper. So, because I already have him in. And this could be Cancelo. The only headache that I would have this week is that I would probably bench one of my City defenders, play Taylor, play Robertson. Got Southampton and Chelsea with high defense, and Everton high defense as well, and Leeds and 21 Vardy's. Only got good game weeks in the next 5 game weeks. Yeah, exactly. But the problem is that he's probably going to be benched this week. Or maybe I just have Kane this week and then I go Vardy. The problem is that if I have that situation, then I can't get De Bruyne in easily later on. That's kind of the issue. So if I went with, let's say, Kane here. And we went with Rashford here. Then I probably have to downgrade 2 of my defenders of some kind. 1 goal Wood got burned with him last season when Norwich went down to 9 men and he scored 1 goal. Yeah, I mean, that's true as well. But it is for Sheffield United and Fulham. But he's also only 6 million, right? 6'2". So it's not like he's super expensive. The problem is Rashford might not play. That's another problem. Vardy might not play. Kane's 0.9 more than Vardy at the moment. That's kind of the issue that we're struggling with here. Okay, so I'm still not seeing anything. Kyle Walker-Peters benched them versus West Ham. Yeah, I would say so. Out of the ones that you chose. Yeah, I still don't see anything for Jamie Vardy news. So I'm pretty sure. The thing is, if I just have him and bench him, or I just start him, right, and he doesn't play, then I still have him. Maybe I just do that. Rafinha or Souček? I would say Rafinha this week. Kufal or Cresswell? That's a tough one. Who are they against? Southampton? Southampton are usually pretty decent at defending set pieces. From open play, I would say probably Kufal. I don't know. That's a flip a coin, honestly. Cresswell, just because he's more money. Kufal's better from open play. Cresswell's better from set pieces, so whichever one you go for there. So whichever one you think they could potentially do more. Vestergaard won't be back for another few weeks, apparently. Yeah, probably Cresswell makes more sense if that's the case. Okay, so the guy on Twitter, Sam Martin, who's like a Leicester dude, he says, doesn't look like anything's going to come through before the deadline. My gut says it'll be Ian Atcher/Perez who start, and I reckon we'll see 4 to 5 changes, but I guess all we can do, so we're now waiting to see if anything comes in 7 minutes, I'll share. So most likely, it doesn't look like Vardy is going to play. Having that much money on the bench does make things worry. You know what? We're going Chris Wood. And we're going to go with Mane. And we're going to go with James Justin, I think. I think this is what we're going to go with. I think this is what we're going to go with. Because Liverpool can do exactly what they did to Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. I don't trust Spurs. I would have liked Vardy for the 2 away fixtures. We'll have James Justin at least in there. We have a route to get back to KDB. Yeah, no Kane or Son. Yeah, but I haven't had Kane or Son for the last 2 weeks, and they haven't done well. Now the question is Cancelo or Diaz? I'm going to go with Cancelo, I think. Do I really need Robertson, though? Can I go Diaz and then go somebody who isn't Chris Wood up front? How much is Martial? 8-7. I think this is what we're going to have to go with. Yeah. I think Robertson, remember, we just have to see him as an attacker. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so now we have to put... we're going to play him ahead of him. Salah is captain. Bruno, vice captain. Save that. Are we going to play Rodrigo in for James Justin versus Palace? Probably. And then we'll play Souček ahead of him. I think that's what we'll go with. I think that's what we're going with. Yeah. All right. Whew. It's out of our hands now. It's out of our hands. Justin in for Taylor, Taylor in for Robertson, Robertson in for Justin. Just so we get the symmetry on the team. I just had to check just to make sure. Whew. Apologies for not talking very much during that. Yeah. Yeah, I think overall it's a more balanced team. Vardy I was taking a lot into consideration. We still have Justin, who looks quite good. The bench boost is looking good. We only have one single game week player, which we could always change. We can change Cancelo to somebody if we want to. For a double game week player. Like Reece James. If we think that Cancelo or we see that Reece James might play or something like that, we can always do that. So yeah, Salah captain, Mane vice captain. Let me actually take a screenshot of this while I'm here. I think there was just too much. I'm not gonna risk Rashford. I'm not gonna risk Vardy not playing. I'm not gonna risk any of that. I'm just gonna go with the smart picks with the head. Newcastle are bad. Liverpool are gonna want to do what they did versus versus Palace. To them, they have to make up some points. Liverpool aren't gonna rotate, whereas Leicester will. Spurs might even rotate a little bit, maybe. Maybe Son's on the bench. We don't know. But I think that's probably quite solid overall. I like Robertson over Trent. And yeah, so let me see if there's any last minute details that potentially could be. So see some wildcard teams here. Ooh, somebody went with Firmino from what I can tell. Interesting. Instead of Mane. And they're planning on doing Firmino to Vardy in Gameweek 17, and then Son to Rashford in double Gameweek 19. But he's going with 2 cheap goalkeepers. So I could have potentially gone with Firmino, but Firmino is still a bit too much overall. So yeah, that's kind of the issue. But yeah, if Vardy's rotated, then that's fine for us. But I think the FPL site should be down now. I'm just going to refresh it on my other screen just so you guys can see the... Yeah, it is. So, that is it. That's the deadline. That's the wildcard team. Hopefully it does well. Definitely backing Liverpool for sure. We have a route to go to KDB. If we want to take a hit to get out Chris Wood and bring in Antonio or somebody cheaper, somebody better, then we can. I can't believe I have triple Burnley, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, let's go over to the big screen. That's going to do it for this one. Hope you all have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give us a follow on all the socials. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We will be back. When will we be back? We will be back for a preview stream on Wednesday. So that's going to be after the Newcastle-Liverpool game. And we'll be back on Wednesday and Thursday. So Wednesday for the preview, Thursday for the deadline-ish stream. And then we should be back to normal videos after game week 17. Because then we have the FA Cup break, and then I can actually start doing videos normally again. And it's not going to be as chocker-block as normal. We'll be doing a free hit video at some point as well. So make sure to look out for that. But yeah, thanks for watching. And until next one, take care.